Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This evening we're talking about getting referrals for professionals. And we want to start with the issue of expectations. You know, when you go into a gas station and you pay for your gas and you receive gas, you don't feel an obligation that afterwards you need to go out and become the salesman for this gas station. In fact, you're thinking it would be absurd. Why would you do that? And the reason you think it's absurd is because really there was a fair exchange. The gas station provided you with gas. You gave them money. The transaction is completed. There's nothing more that needs to occur. You don't feel an IOU. And I want you to know that when you provide a service for your clients, they feel the very same way. You provided the service. They paid you for that service. That's the end of the transaction. They're not experiencing any obligation to go out and become a salesman for your firm. You need to understand that. If, however, you go beyond what they expected, if they received additional value, if they could get to the point where they could say about your service that you didn't need to do that and you really extended yourself, then they would feel some sense of obligation. So if your firm is simply providing that which was contracted for, that which was paid for, and not a whit more, don't expect that the client is going to go out and expend all kinds of efforts on your behalf. A quick story, I was sitting in a doctor's office and a patient told about a pediatrician who called to find out how her son, Johnny, was doing once, twice, and then 3 times. And she felt that he went so far beyond what was expected. And with those 3 phone calls, all of which lasted not more than 3 minutes, he bought her loyalty and her salesmanship probably for the rest of her life. She was so impressed that he called to find out how Johnny is doing. So going beyond the expected. If you want your clients to refer business to you, if you want them to sell for you, then you need to go beyond the expected. Otherwise, the transaction is complete. A second very important issue. Sometimes we say to ourselves, well, we should be getting more referrals from our clients. Yes, it's true. We should be getting more referrals. And what do? We go to the client and we say, I'm an accountant, I'm an engineer, I'm a lawyer, and I'm looking for more clients. Would you please supply me with some referrals for people who might need my services? Well, let's just say for argument's sake that you're a lawyer. Well, then the client goes into his brain and he asks his brain, do I have a file on people looking for lawyers? He doesn't have such a file. He doesn't have such information. He can't give you referrals that he's not collecting. He's not in that business. Why would he have referrals for lawyers or accountants or whatever? So you're asking him for something that he doesn't have. He's not in your business. And he's only collecting those things that are of importance to him. And you're just sort of putting him in an embarrassing spot where he really can't respond in any way. So what does he say? He says, well, I can't think of anybody right now, but let me think about it. And next week, even if he's thought about it, well, he doesn't have any new names in that week. Of course he doesn't, because he's not collecting that information. So the question becomes, how do you get referrals from your clients? Well, your clients have many, many businesses that supply services to them. They have vendors. They have their own customers that they're selling to. And they know other people in the industry. And of course, there are their personal connections. Oftentimes can be very, very valuable. But your client may know 1,000 people. So how would that help you? Well, let's imagine that you did go beyond the expected. Let's say that your client does love you and does want to do something for you. All right, so let's say that that's the setting, that there is that gratitude. Well, let's imagine, on a fictional basis, let's imagine If we could take all of the acquaintances of your client and we could put them all in a big gymnasium and freeze them like statues, and you could walk from statue to statue, person to person, and say, what does this one do? What does this one do? What does this one do? And then identify which one is of interest to you. Like you learned that his sister is the CFO of a large multi-million-dollar company. Well, that could be very valuable to you. Or you learn that his nephew is a big shot at a bank, and so on and so forth. So how would you find out who those key people are in your client's life? Well, you would learn that by getting closer to your client and learning who his customers are, and learning who his vendors are, and learning if he's involved in an association, and learning what the members of his family do, and learning about his entire world of contacts, whether it's people in the church, people in the Little League, friends, people in some charitable organization that he may or she may be involved with. So just asking for something that they can't give you is not going to help you and actually only going to embarrass. And in fact, this whole notion that's being proposed by sales consultants, which is, just push for the referral, is really a silly idea and a bad idea. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen?